All right, everybody, this is a guided walkthrough for day number 15 from the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber event for 2025 on tryhackme.com. This room is called Web Attack Forensics Drone Alone. Okay, so the first thing you want to do after you start the join the room is go down to task number 1, introduction. So in here, we've got a story, and we're going to be reading the story to understand what's going on in this room. TVFC's drone scheduler web UI is getting strange, long HTTP requests containing base64 chunks. Splunk raises an alert. Apache spawned an unusual process. On some endpoints, these requests cause the web server to execute shellcode, which is obfuscated and hidden within the base64 payloads. For this room, your job as the blue teamer is to triage the incident, identify compromised hosts, extract and decode the payloads, and determine the scope. You'll use Splunk to pivot between web Apache logs and host-level sysmon telemetry. Follow the investigation steps below. Each corresponds to a Splunk query and investigation goal. So our learning objectives for today are: detect and analyze malicious web activity through Apache access and error logs, investigate OS-level attacker actions using sysmon data, identify and decode suspicious and obfuscated attacker payloads, and reconstruct the full attack chain using Splunk for blue team investigation. Okay, so for this day, we need to do these two things. We need to start the attack box today, and we need to start a VM today. So we're just going to go down to here, and we need to click on Start Machine, this green button. And we also need to click on the Start Attack Box button as well. So, I don't see my Start Attack. Oh, the attack box. Hold on. Okay, so Start Attack Box. We'll just click on this button here. And that's going to start up the virtual machines. So we're going to have to wait for a couple of minutes for the virtual machines to start up. But in the meantime, we can get some stuff done. So underneath the section in task 1, I have successfully started the attack box in target machine. We can click on the checkbox here. Okay, so we're going to go down to task number 2. So web attack forensics, logging into Splunk. After you started the attack box in the target machine, allow the system around 3 minutes to fully boot, then use Firefox on the attack box to access the Splunk dashboard. So we're going to be doing this later, and we're going to be using these credentials here to log in. So the Splunk login page should be similar to the screenshot below. So we're going to be logging to Splunk. After logging successfully, you will be taken to the search page as showed in the screenshot. Okay. Make sure to adjust the Splunk time range to include the time of the events, for example, last 7 days or all time. Okay, so we're going to be doing all this stuff in a little bit after everything loads up, but let's talk about these detecting suspicious web commands. So in the first step, let's search for HTTP requests that might show malicious activity. The query below searches the web access logs for any HTTP requests that include signs of command execution attempts, such as cmd.exe, PowerShell, or invoke expression. So if you see this kind of stuff in your web request, that's usually a really bad sign. This query helps identify possible command injection attacks where the evil attacker tries to execute system commands through a vulnerable CGI script. So in this case, they're using a script called hello.bat. All right, so we've got we'll come back to this. We just need to set up our environment. So on the attack box here, we're going to need to start up our web browser. So we'll click on here and we'll hit enter to dismiss the terminal. Then we'll start up the Firefox web browser. Okay, so we got our connection details. So the username is blue, the password is this. We've got a link here as well. So we're just going to copy the link. Can we not copy the link? Hold on. Actually, it's fine. We can just access it through the IP address. So okay, so we're just gonna go into the Firefox browser, type in HTTP ://10.65.135.63 because this is the IP address over here. So underneath the black box here. Okay, and then hit enter. Hold on. What is that? What is that full thing again? Oh, it's on port 8000. Okay. So just need to adjust it so it's port 8000. So in here, to the end of this IP address, we do :8000. Oh, it took me to HTTPS by default. We don't want HTTPS. You just want HTTP. And it looks like we might be having connection issues because the machine isn't fully booted up, or the service isn't fully oh, nope. Okay, we're good. We just need to wait for it to load up. Okay, so Splunk Enterprise, we need to supply a username and password. We've got the username and password over here. So blue pass 1234. Blue pass 1234. Sign in. It's got to wait for it to load up, but we can scroll down and talk about the different commands we're going to be looking at here. Okay, so after this finishes loading up, we're going to need to adjust our time frame. So right now we can't see anything. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so the time range, we need to adjust this. So time range, we're going to go here, click on it, and then select all time. So this is going to give us events for all time in history. Now that we've adjusted the time frame so that it's all time, we can start doing our queries. So they give you a lot of different queries that we can run here. And the first query, it's going to copy this. So this is looking in the Windows Apache access logs, and it's looking for the strings cmd.exe or PowerShell or PowerShell.exe or invoke expression. So it's looking for these strings inside of the web logs. Let's go ahead and paste that in, and then we will search. Okay, so we see a few different events where these kind of commands were run. So cmd equals PowerShell.exe plus encode base64 stuff. This is generally very bad from a defender's point of view because it shows that the attackers were able to run commands through PowerShell and they encoded their commands through base64 encoding. Okay, so at this step, we are primarily interested in the base64 encoded strings, which may reveal various types of activities. Once you spot encoded PowerShell commands, decode them using base64decode.org or your favorite base64 decoder to understand what the attacker was trying to do. Based on the results we received, let's copy the encoded PowerShell string. So it's this string here. Let me copy it. And then we paste it into this website here, which will let us decode the strings. Okay, so we'll paste it in, and then we will click on, why am I getting Chinese ads? We'll click on decode, and we see this. So this string, it says, this is now mine, mwahahahaha. And yeah, so that's a pretty ominous looking message. Okay, so now we're looking for server-side errors or command execution in Apache error logs. So in this stage, we'll focus on inspecting web server error logs, as this would help us uncover any malicious activity. We will run the following query. So we're looking in the Windows Apache logs. We're looking for cmd.exe or PowerShell or internal server error. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we just need to replace the stuff in the clipboard. Then after that, we will go up to the top and delete the search term that we were using before, paste in the new one, and then click on search. So we see here that we have 3 events. So we see here that we got some error messages. So this is not recognized as internal external command, etc., etc. So these were the unsuccessful attempts to run commands on the server. So this query inspects the Apache error logs for signs of execution attempts or internal failures caused by malicious requests. As you can tell, we're now searching for error messages with particular terms such as cmd.exe or PowerShell. So please make sure that you select View Raw from the dropdown to above the event display field. Okay. So if a request like this, cgi bin hello.bat command equals PowerShell, if this command triggers a 500 internal server error, it often means that the attacker's input was processed by the server but failed during execution, a key sign of hacking attempts. So checking these results helps confirm whether the attack reached the backend or remained blocked at the web layer. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to trace suspicious process creation from Apache. So let's explore sysmon for other malicious executable files that the web server might have spawned. We'll do that using the following Splunk query. So this time we're going to be accessing the sysmon logs instead of the Apache web server logs. And we're going to be taking a look at the HTTPD process. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So each time we do this, we need to replace the stuff in the clipboard. Then we'll go up to the top. We will delete the old search, insert the new search, and then confirm. Okay, so we have how many events here? So there's 14 events being indicated here. And it looks like there were a lot of processes that were spawned by HTTPD, which is not supposed to be the case. We'll talk a little bit more about what that means. So select View Table on the drop-down menu after the event. Okay. So typically, Apache should only spawn worker threads, not system processes like cmd.exe or PowerShell.exe. So it shows child processes such as parent image equals httpd.exe, and then it creates cmd.exe, which is a very, very bad thing. So it indicates a successful command injection where Apache executed a system command. So the finding above is one of the strongest indicators that the web attack penetrated the operating system. So let's confirm attacker enumeration activity. So in this step, we aim to discover what specific programs we found in the previous queries. Let's use the following query. So we're going to look inside the sysmon logs again, but we're going to look for either of these two, cmd.exe and who am I. So this query looks for the command execution logs where cmd.exe ran the command. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We've got our search command over here, and we'll go back in. Then we will go up to the top, get rid of the old search, paste in the new search, and we see there are 4 events here where the cmd.exe ran whoami.exe. So whoami.exe is Well, we'll talk about that right now. Okay, so attackers often use the whoami command immediately after gaining code execution to determine which user account their malicious process is running as. So finding these events confirms the attacker's post-X reconnaissance, showing that the injected command was executed on the host. So the last thing is this the last thing? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to identify base64 encoded PowerShell payloads. So in this final step, we will work to find all successfully encoded commands. To search for encoded strings, we can use a Splunk query kind of like this. So we're looking in the sysmon logs. We're looking for PowerShell.exe that runs the command line on the command line encode, or command line encoded command, or command line equals base64. So these all give indications that we're using PowerShell to encode a payload. So just copy this, go back in. Go back up to the top, delete the old query, paste in the new one, and then run the query. So, it says 0 events. Hold on. I just want to make sure that everything is correct. So if your defenses are correctly configured, this query should return no results, meaning the encoded payload, such as mwahahaha, never ran. Okay, so this is intended. So if results appear, you can decode the base64 commands to inspect the attacker's true intent. So we're very close to the end of the room. Answer the questions below. So I think we don't need the virtual machine to answer these questions. What is the reconnaissance executable's file name? So we noted before that the first thing that attackers like to do after they get code execution on a server is run whoami. So the executable file is called whoami.exe. Okay? And the last question is, what executable did the attacker attempt to run through the command injection? So through command injection, the attackers were using a lot of PowerShell.exe commands. So PowerShell is it's a very common way to explore an environment when you have remote code execution on a Windows web server. But anyways, that's the answer. All right, everybody, that was a guided walkthrough for day number 15 from the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber event from TryHackMe.com. If you enjoyed this guided walkthrough, please click on the like and subscribe buttons on the video and leave a comment underneath the video. But until next time, HackerFrogs out.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.